Hey, everybody, real quick, before we get to the recap of Shadow and Bone, if you need a Season 1 recap, hit the tab in the upper right-hand corner. It'll take you right to it. We'll start off in Krabisk. There's been a revolt amongst the soldiers because they're blaming both the Sun Summoner and General Kirigan for what happened with the Fold, it expanding. And this is very popular, people blaming the two of them, not realizing that they're fighting against each other. They weren't working together at all. Alina was only doing what Kirigan was forcing her to do. Either way, she's getting the blame as well as Kirigan. And the soldiers who saw what happened decided to push back. They have a lot of Kirigan's people locked up, and that includes Genya. As she's trying to talk her way out of this situation, something pops out of the Fold, and it's a head. One of the soldiers, the guy who's kind of running things, gets really concerned, and that's when everybody starts dying from the hands of this smoke monster. They try to shoot at it, but it's a damn smoke monster. But that smoke monster wasn't just anything. It was General Kirigan. He's been able to weaponize the Fold, using it amongst his powers. And once he kills everybody, he frees all of his subjects and has them follow him. And they don't want to die, so even the ones that don't want to go with him end up doing so. He goes through his plan, saying that he's going to dispose of the First Army, hook up some dinner. Just your typical Tuesday night sort of thing. Now, over in Ketterdam, Kaz, Inej, and Jesper have all returned. They go to the Crow Club, but they're surprised because it's under new management, and that's something they were expecting. They're trying to figure out how exactly this happened, and that's when the cops come to arrest them for murder. Although Inej is able to escape somehow, sneaking off into the shadows. The cops are forced to just take Jesper and Kaz in. They're going to take them to a prison called Hellgate, which lives up to its title. On the way there, though, Kaz is having issues. He's having flashbacks to his childhood with Pekka Rollins, and they're really upsetting him. He snaps out of it, though, when the carriage stops, and they take both Jesper and Kaz off of it, because someone has paid these cops a little bit of money to have a private conversation with them. And that person is Dreesen. He wants to know where his money is. Paid a lot of money for the Sun Summoner, and he didn't get it. But as he's talking to Kaz and Jesper, Kaz is surveying the room, and he notices that there's one security guard that just doesn't fit. And that is when Kaz realizes that Dreesen isn't the man in charge. Dreesen isn't even the one who hired him. It must be this guy. And he calls Dreesen out on it, and sure enough, this random security guard isn't a security guard. His name is Sturmond, and he's a famous pirate, although he prefers privateer. Kaz asks what this guy wants with the Sun Summoner, and he says it's quite simple, money. The reward's gone up $20 million to hand her over to Fjordur. And that is when Kaz and Jesper find out that the whole world thinks the Sun Summoner and Kirigan were working in tandem to weaponize the Fold. And they know that that's not the case. They tell Sturmond that they don't know where she is, but he doesn't believe them because he found the necklace that them. And his intel said that she had gotten on the ship with that necklace. So either they took it off her dead body or she gave it to them to keep quiet. In between a rock and a hard place, Kaz bargains with the guy, saying, give us 20 seconds, leave the necklace, and I'll tell you where she is. Which is kind of a scumbag move to tell the guy where she is for a necklace that she gave you to not tell the guy where she is. But either way, he tells him that she stayed on the ship and went to a place called Novia Zem. Sturmond thanks him. He does take the necklace with him, but he also gives them 20 seconds to escape. Kaz is able to get out of his handcuffs very easily, but when Jesper says, hey man, I need help, Kaz just throws him a coin. Because there's something that Kaz has noticed about Jesper, and that's the fact that he's a durist. He was able to figure it out after he was fixing his gun without anything. He also repaired his cane with no tools, and when he shoots, he doesn't miss. So Kaz throws him a coin that he can use to turn into a key, which he does. But what Jesper's worried about is that Kaz is going to care about the fact that he's a durist. And Kaz doesn't. The two then are able to escape, and now it's just a matter of meeting up with Inej. They do so in the bottom of the barrel. They know that the cops won't go there. And what Inej was able to find out on the outside is that they are blamed for murdering Tanti Aline. That's when everything starts to make sense for Kaz. He realized that this must all be Pekka Rollins. He murdered Tanti Aline, got the deed to the Crow Club, turned it into whatever he turned it into, and then blamed them for it. It gets way worse, though, because Pekka Rollins also owns the menagerie now, which means he owns Inej. Kaz starts to think and then pulls out a wad of cash and gives it to Inej, telling her, we're not the only ones that are under false accusations, so is Alina. Fjordur wants her for $20 million. They think that she was in cahoots with the Darkling. So take that money and go protect her. But Inej isn't leaving. She gives the money back to him and says, whatever happens to us is going to happen to us. We got to take care of this together. He gives them instructions on where to meet the next day, and he tells them, keep an eye out for a heart renderer. I need one. Doesn't take too long for Inej to run into Nina Zenik after she saves Inej's life when she was cornered by a bunch of people from the menagerie. Nina overheard the conversation on the ship, and she thinks she can be of service, but not for free. She's going to want something from it. Inej doesn't have that power, so Inej says, I'll take you to the guy in charge, Kaz. The place that Kaz is going to have everybody meet is a workshop for a guy named Wylan. He's Kaz's demolition man. Guy that's really good with chemicals and really good at putting them together to explode. Does get a little awkward when Jesper shows up since the two have a little bit of a past, but Inej shows up a short while later with Nina, and now they've got the whole team together. But Nina lays down her demands to Kaz. She's heard that Kaz can get somebody out of Hellgate, and that's where Matthias is. Kaz says, I can't get anybody out of Hellgate, but I can get you a visit. And for the time being, that's going to have to be good enough for Nina. She agrees to come on board. He then wants to show him step one of his plan, and they go up to the roof. They see an explosion in the distance, and that explosion is the old Crow Club. He wanted to send a message to Pekka. That's because Kaz is planning on going to war with Pekka. And then finally, over with Alina and Maul at Novia Zem, they've arrived, but it isn't sunshine and rainbows. Alina has had horrible dreams, very vivid dreams, of the Fold, of Kurgan. These dreams feel real. So much so that when she wakes up, she makes Maul reassure her that Kurgan is dead. They literally saw the Volcra take him. No one survived. What they need to do is think about what's next. Maul is really excited about the future. It's the first time they've ever left Ravka. But what he's really excited for is just to have a good meal and a good night's sleep. Before they can get that, they have to go through a checkpoint. As they're doing this, Alina once again goes through the plan. They have to find the Sea Whip. One amplifier might not be enough, so she'll get two. It's risky because no one's ever done this before, but then again, no one ever tore down the Fold before either. As they're making flirty eyes with each other, they hear someone say refugees, and Alina gets super concerned. She walks over and finds out that these refugees are from Ravka, because the Fold moved overnight. She realizes that those nightmares aren't nightmares at all. It's really happening. Once they get through the checkpoint, though, they check into a hotel. Life is good, and it's even better for Maul because they only have one bed. And finally, my man gets out of the friend zone and the two hook up. They have to stop, though, when they hear a bell for a fishing boat. They're going to split up to try to find the Sea Whip. Maul's going to go to the docks, Alina going to the library. Alina's so tired, though, while looking at maps of the library that she falls asleep and has another nightmare. Kurgan's there. They have quite a pissing contest, and eventually she wakes up and snaps out of it. She asks the librarian if they have any older maps that she can look at, because she still hasn't found the Sea Whip. And the librarian opens a drawer using Grisha power. Alina compliments her on this, and the librarian mentions how Grecians are welcome in Novia Zem. They do realize, though, that they're lucky to be safe in Novia Zem, because she knows what happens to Grecians in Ravka, and she feels for them. She then lets Alina look at some maps, and Alina, using her ability, ends up finding exactly what she was looking for, the Sea Whip. However, she overhears people talking about how her and Kurgan were in cahoots, and then she sees a newspaper where she and Kurgan are the headline because she's wanted. And that's when she finds out that the whole world thinks that she had worked with Kurgan to weaponize the Fold. She has to flee the library, though, when somebody recognizes her. And it's not like things are going great for Maul either. Down at the docks, he was recognized by his old commander. His old commander wanted to drag him back to Ravka for being a deserter, but Maul just took off. Eventually, he gets cornered by a bunch of soldiers, but he's a really good fighter. He starts fighting them off. And then Alina, who saw a commotion, followed it over there and used her powers to get rid of the rest of them. They try to escape, but the commander shows up and he wants to turn them in. But the people of Novia Zem block this because they know what she is and they respect it. They're on her side. So they're able to help Maul and Alina get away. But there's only one way out of Novia Zem, and that's the harbor. And the captain knows that. At night, Maul and Alina head down there, and they see a private boat, one that they can just buy their way on. They do that, but as they're boarding, the captain shows up. He wants to take them in. But the people on this boat say, yeah, you're not doing that. You're outnumbered. Piss off. You have no jurisdiction here. The workers of this ship gladly escort Maul and Alina to the captain, and that captain is Sturmond. He tells them that he knows who they are, and he also knows that they're worth 20 million Kruger, dead or alive. And that's when Maul and Alina know that they're in quite a pickle because that ship has left. Thank you so much for checking out this recap. Please consider subscribing to the channel and subscribing to my Patreon. Hit thumbs up if you liked it. Smash that thumbs down button if you thought it sucked. If you left a comment, I don't get back to you. I usually don't check the comments unless they're like a super comment. Also, if you don't see the next video up on the end screen, not to worry. It'll be up in a day or two.